Since their first album was released in 1980, Iron Maiden have conquered the world, earning for themselves over 76 different gold and platinum albums and selling more than 10 million records in over 20 different countries. September 1986 sees the release of the band's first studio album in 2 years. Entitled Somewhere in Time, I'd like to be the first, though I dare say not the last, to say I think it's the band's best album in years. September 86 also sees the start of the band's brand new world tour, this time taking in again over 20 different countries in a trek which will take them over 8 months to complete. Boy, how those people like to work. Right, enough yapping from me. I'm off now to talk to the lads from Iron Maiden. The only thing is, they're somewhere in sunny Frankfurt, West Germany, while I'm actually fog-bound here somewhere in London town. But we're not going to let that stop us. I'm off. Do you want to come with me? Come on, then. So tell me, Bruce, after this massive tour that you did last year, 12 months or something, what was the first thing you thought of doing when you finally came to the end of it?
Well, first, I got off the plane from LA, it was, where I was staying. Got off the plane, went back to my little house in Chiswick, dumped the stuff off, refilled another bag, got in a taxi, went to Victoria Station, went down into the wilds of Sussex.
What was this for?
For 2 weeks in a... Well, in normal times it's a Catholic boarding school, but in the summer it becomes a little training camp for fencers, right? So I went down to the wilds of Sussex into this place, which used to be a monastery, so they didn't have any hot water after 7 in the morning, no curtains on the windows, and everybody slept in little boxes, presumably, so if they died, they just have to put a lid on you and just carry you out, you know.
Sounds like you must have purged yourself with the monastic life after all that time.
I purged myself with a monastic life and a visit down the pub every evening, yes.
I did exactly what I wanted to do, actually, which was nothing. Yeah, I sat at home, got back to, get to back, you know, kind of some reality with my family, you know, get to know my little boy again, which is very difficult to do when you've been away. Did a little bit of flying, went across to Jersey, not for too long, just popped around a bit, you know.
That's right, because you're a flyer now, you're actually a pilot, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Watch out up there, you lot.
So after your holiday, you actually began work on your new album at the beginning of the year. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. We had about 4 or 5 weeks in Jersey as usual. We've done the same thing the last 3 years, go away to Jersey and supposedly go, you know, completely quiet and so you can sort of write and everything.
It doesn't always happen though, does it?
No.
I mean, this so-called quiet writing period usually gets a bit raucous.
Well, the 2 years before that, funny enough, we had like 6-week, 7-week periods there. And the first 2 or 3 weeks, we never actually got around to doing anything because it was 6 or 7 weeks. So we were like drinking and this, that and the other and playing table tennis and all this sort, and actually got around to doing nothing. So this time we thought, right, 4 weeks. And believe it or not, second day there, we were actually out there rehearsing. It was like, the road crew couldn't believe it.
I mean, it was phenomenal. And, I mean, it was an effort. I mean, Steve's blistered, all his fingers came up and, you know, and Dave and H would go, oh, like, even with that H and I would think, oh, my wrist is aching, you know, get a bit of the old rheumatism setting in 5 months. So, myself, of course, I was grieving too, you know, I was feeling the pain of getting the old power back together and all this business. And, yeah, it really didn't, in fact, it was the reverse of what any of us, I think, expected to happen. It just came together like refreshed, invigorating is the word. It was like a new life, new blood.
I was surprised at how it seemed as if we'd never stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the time had gone by that quickly?
Yeah, it really did. And, you know, we got all the gear back together and I wandered in. It was like, God, this seems like yesterday.
When we actually got back to start getting some music together, it was like a real good feeling because, like, it just sort of sparked, you know, and it's sort of everyone back together. And you remember, like, all the good times and all that. So it just started again, you know. It's
quite a sort of creative purple patch or whatever the phrase is on this album. I mean, you've actually come up with, I think, 3 tracks. We've
brainstorm,
yeah, all the words and all the music. Because in the past, I think you worked with Steve and Bruce on the words.
Yeah, I just used to come up with the music, but I thought, well, just as a new sort of a challenge, really, just make it more interesting for myself, just to have a go at writing lyrics, because it's not as easy as people, well, some people might think. It's quite difficult to get lyrics that actually sound good and mean something, you know.
Right.
But I usually come up with music first because I find that easier. But I've always got ideas for melodies, vocal melodies. So I thought, why not just write some lyrics and just see how it works out. It's a bit difficult. I mean, you've got to write for somebody else to sing them. So you've got to take, it's a different way of writing. But it's new, so it's good to do something new on an album, you know.
And of course, there's a Dave Murray composition on the new album as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Called Deja Vu.
Yeah, and not Vujade. Yeah, Deja Vu. Yeah.
What's Vujade?
It's where you've never been there before, you know. But yeah, I had some ideas on the tape and that, and I gave them to Steve, and he sort of come up with, you know, some lyrics and stuff, and put it all together. And it actually was written pretty much at the studio, you know, in the Bahamas.
Of course, it said, though, that you come up with, was it, one song every 3 years for an album?
That's right. Well, that was, you know, perfect timing, because that was the 3rd year.
Of the new album, there's 8 tracks on the new album, right? Do you have any particular favourites?
The title track, Somewhere in Time, Caught Somewhere in Time, Stranger in a Strange Land.
Now, you've mentioned that one to me before, actually. That's the track Adrian.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. The main reason I like that one is because being a major Deep Purple fan of old, it's got that kind of crunching, gargly Hammond sound at the beginning, which is all done with mirrors. it's all one of these wonderful Roland guitar synths.
Synthesized guitars.
Yeah, yeah, and it's got that great grindy kind of. Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah, it's very atmospheric, isn't it? Very sort of moody.
Yes, yes, and so it's got that nice grinding of gears, Hammond organ sound at the beginning, and great riff, good groove, and everything, and lots of blues in it, in the vocal to it, especially the chorus.
So has that same, you know, energetic zeal and enjoyment you had at the beginning of the album, has that carried on through now? Because you're just about to start another world-long tour. And I mean, you do strike me as a bit of a man of the road, Nico.
You know, again, when I said earlier, you get that feeling where you want to go, oh, I want to go home, you know. It gets you sort of road madness for a while, but yeah, I love being on the road with the band anyway, because we're so tight as a family, and everybody's heard this before, but it's true.
After a while, it's like you tend to you start associating it with lack of sleep, sensory deprivation, temporary deafness, you know, and same old songs. Don't want to do that anymore. So you do the new album, right, and that kind of saves your psychic bacon. Because then you're buzzing with all these new songs and all these new tracks, and the new stage show and the new stage clothes I've got and everything. And you're thinking, wow, this is great. This is a real creative challenge now. I'm going to go out and make this work and make it tick.
Now it's that stage where you sort of start warming up and get the feel of it again. And starting where we're going to be in Poland, it's going to be real good again, because it's like, you know, from the reaction from last time, it was real good.
Touring in England is wonderful for me, because everybody speaks the same language, and and they're a very critical audience, but at the same time they're very rewarding.
Right.
So as long as you really try hard and put everything into it, you'll get everything. Even if you're croaking in England, and you can't sing a note, but you put your heart and soul into it, you can be guaranteed that the audience will respond very warmly because they know that, you know, even though you've got a bit of a bad throat, you're really putting everything into it. And so that's nice because it makes you really work hard because you know the converse is true, that if you don't put everything into it, they're going to throw things at you or worse, they'll just sit there going, I don't think he's doing much tonight, you know. I saw him on last tour and he was much better, you know.
Now you've actually got the finished album in front of you and you can actually go home and listen to it yourself. How does it rate for you compared to Iron Maiden albums of the past?
I feel, it's funny, after recording, I always feel the same way. It's like, oh, this is definitely the best album that we've done, you know. And to me, it's the same with Somewhere in Time, you know. It feels like we've actually gone a step further.
Is it as you imagined it might have been before you actually got in and started writing and recording?
You never know. It's the exciting thing about it. You never know how it's going to turn out, how people are going to react to, you know, what you've got, and you know, everyone's going to be putting in their ideas. So it's quite exciting. You never know how it's going to turn out. You've got a rough idea because you know we've done 5 or 6 albums before. But I think this is the best album we've done.
This album, I think there's not a track on the album I can say that I'm not, you know, I'm unhappy with, you know. Whether the individual tracks are stronger than others, it's difficult to be objective. I think they're really, really strong. I think it's a very, very powerful album. But as an overall album, I would say it's probably the best thing we've done probably since the first album, I would say.
If I had to actually pin you down and say, Dave Murray, what is your favourite Iron Maiden album? What would it be?
Well, I'd say Somewhere in Time, but then it could be Power Slave or it could be Peace of Mind. It could be...
Depends when I ask you.
Yeah, it depends what time of the day it is, I suppose. But I've got got like sort of favourite tracks and that, and I'll go back and listen to, you know, out of them. But let's say each album, I always feel, oh, that's the best one we've done, you know.